A Gift of Chappals, Part 2. Bredu crept up to the window. Lully was sitting a little distance away, awkwardly holding her violin and bowstring, her elbows jutting out and her eyes glazed with concentration. In front of her, with most of his back to the window, was the bony figure of the music master. He had a mostly bald head with a fringe of oiled black hair falling around his ears and an old fashioned tuft. A gold chain gleamed around his leathery neck, and a diamond ring glittered on his hand as it glided up and down the stem of the violin. A large foot stuck out from beneath his gold bordered waisty edge, and he was beating time on the floor with a scrawny big toe. He played a few notes. Lully tumbled behind him on her violin, which looked quite helpless and unhappy in her hands. What a difference! The music master's notes seemed to float up and settle perfectly into the invisible tracks of the melody. It was like the wheels of a train fitting smoothly into the rails and whizzing along. As Ravi said, Ridu started at that huge, beringed hand, moving effortlessly up the violin's stem, making lovely music. Squawk! There was Lully derailing again. Amma! Came a wail from the gate. Amma! Oh! Ravi sent that beggar away, cried his mother, from the back veranda where she was chatting with Tapi. He has been coming here every day for the past week, and it's time to find another house to beg from. Pati explained to Tapi. Bridu and Meena followed Ravi out. The beggar was already in the garden, making himself quite at home. He had spread his upper cloth under the neem tree and was leaning against its trunk, apparently prepared to take a little snooze, while he waited for the arms to appear. Go away, said Ravi sternly. My party says it's time you found another house to beg from. The beggar opened his eyes very wide and gazed at each of the children one by one. The ladies of this house, he said at last in a voice choked with feeling, are very kind souls. I have kept my body and soul together on their generosity for a whole week. I cannot believe that they would turn me away. He raised his voice. Amma, Amma, oh, said his wail might be, but it certainly was not feeble. It began in a deep, strong rumble, somewhere in his withered belly, and came booming out of his mouth, with its few remaining teeth stained brown with beetle chewing. Ravi, tell him there's nothing left in the kitchen, called Rukumani, and he is not to come again. Tell him that. She sounded fed up. Ravi did not have to repeat it all to the beggar. What his mother said has been easy for them all to hear. There under the neem tree, the beggar sat up and sighed. I'll go, he said wearily. Only let me have a rest here under this tree. The sun is so hot. The tar has melted on the road. My feet are already blistered. He stretched out his feet to show large pink peeling blisters on the soles of his bare feet. I suppose he doesn't have the money to buy chappals. Prithu whispered to Meena Ravi. Have you got an old pair in the house somewhere? I don't know, said Ravi. Mine are too small to fit his feet, or I would have given them to him. And his feet were larger than Ridhu's and Meena's. The beggar was shaking out his upper cloth and tightening his dhoti. He raised his eyes and looked fearfully at the road, gleaming in the afternoon heat. He needs something on his feet, Meena said, her big eyes filling. It's not fair. Shh, said Ravi. I'm thinking about it. Blubbering. It's not fair, it's not fair. Is not going to help. In 2 minutes, he'll be frying his feet on that road. What he needs is a pair of chappals. So where do we get them? Come, let's search the house. He pushed Mridu and Meena into the house. Just as she stepped into the veranda, Mridu's eyes fell on the odd-looking chappals she had noticed when she arrived. Ravi, she whispered to him. Whose are those? Ravi turned and glanced at the shabby-looking but sturdy old slippers. He beamed and nodded. These are just the right size, he said, picking them up. Bridu and Meena followed him nervously back into the garden. Here, said Ravi to the beggar, dropping the slippers in front of the old man. Wear these and don't come back. The beggar stared at the slippers, hurriedly flung his towel over his shoulder, pushed his feet into them, and left muttering a blessing to the children. In a minute, he had vanished around the corner of the street. The music master came out of the house and took an unappreciated look at the three of them, sitting quietly under the tree, playing marbles. Then he searched for his slippers in the veranda, where he had put them. Lully, he called. After a few moments, she hurried up to him. Have you seen my chappals, my dear? I remember having kept them here. Ravi, Mridu, and Meena silently watched Lully and the music master search every corner of the veranda. He scurried around, looking over the railing and crouching near the flower pots to look between them. Brand new they were. I went all the way to Mount Road to buy them. He went on saying, they cost a whole month's fees. Do you know? Soon, Lully went in to tell her mother. Rukumani appeared, looking harassed, with Party following her. Where could they be? It's really quite upsetting to think someone might have stolen them. So many vendors come to the door. Worried Party. Rukumani caught sight of Ravi, Bridu, and Meena sitting under the tree. Have your children? She began, and then, seeing they were curiously quiet, went on more slowly. Seen anyone lurking around the veranda? A sharp V shaped line had formed between her eyebrows. Another straight, tighter one appeared in place of her usually soft, pleasant mouth. Rukumani was angry. Thought Bridu was a shiver. She would not be so upset if she knew about the poor beggar with sores on his feet. She tried to tell herself. Taking a deep breath, she cried, Rukumani, there was a beggar here, poor thing. He had such boils on his feet. So, said Rukumani grimly, turning to Ravi, you gave the music master's chappals to that old beggar who turns up here? Children, these days, groaned Party. Amma, did not you tell me about Karna who gave away everything he had? Even his gold earrings? He was so kind and generous. Silly, snapped Rukumani. Karna didn't give away others people's things. He only gave away his own. But my chappals wouldn't have fitted the beggar's feet. Ravi rushed brashly on. And Amma, if they did fit, would you really not have minded? Ravi, said Rukumani very angrily now, go inside this minute. She hurried indoors and brought out Gopu Mama's hardly worn new chappals. These should fit you, sir. Please put these on. I'm so sorry. My son had been very naughty. The music master's eyes lit up. He put them on, trying not to look too happy. Well, I suppose these will have to do. These days, children have no respect for elders. What to do? A Hanuman incarnate. Only Rama can save such a naughty fellow. Rukumani's eyes flashed. She didn't seem to like Ravi being called a monkey, even a holy monkey. She stood stiff and straight by the front door. It was clear she wanted him to leave quickly. When he had clattered off in his new chappals, she said, Bridu, come in and have some tiffin. Honestly, how do you people think of such things? Thank God your Gopu Mama doesn't wear his slippers to work. As she walked towards the kitchen with Bridu and Meena, she suddenly began to laugh. But he is always in such a hurry to throw off his shoes and socks to get into his chappals as soon as he comes home. What's your Mama going to say this evening when I tell him I gave his chappals to the music master? By Vasanta Surya. In the second part of the story, Mridu peeped through the window and she found Lully was holding the violin in an awkward position, sitting a bit away from her music master, who had his back towards the window. The teacher was bald, with a fringe of oiled black hair falling around his ears. There was gold chain in the neck and a ring on his hand. He had a big toe with which he was thumping the ground. He was playing the notes perfectly on the violin, while Lully was struggling hard. His tracks were filled with melody, while Lully continued missing the notes. And then a beggar came to their house asking for food. When Rukumani called Ravi to send the beggar away, she was fed up with the beggar coming to their place for a week now and wanted him to find another house. The beggar had made himself comfortable at the garden. He was leaning against the neem tree with his upper cloth spread under it. He was about to snooze when he heard this and called for the lady of the house. An irritated Rukumani told Ravi that there wasn't anything left in the kitchen and asked the beggar not to come again. Her voice was so loud that Ravi did not have to repeat her words to the beggar. The beggar told them that he would leave after taking rest for a while. It was too hot outside and there were blisters in his feet. The children were in pain seeing this and started making plans to give him chappals. Now, Pridhu remembered seeing a pair of old grey chappals while she had entered Ravi's house. She asked Ravi whom they belonged to. Ravi took the chappals and gave it to the beggar and asked him not to come again. The beggar went away wearing the chappals and blessing the children. It was a time for the music master to leave and he was looking for his chappals. He called Lalli and they looked everywhere but did not find them. Lalli informed Rukumani about it. Rukumani questioned the children if they had seen anyone picking up the chappals. Rukumani was really angry and Mridu could not control anymore. She told her that they have given the music teacher chappals to the beggar. Rukumani went inside and brought Gopu Mama's new chappals and gave them to the music teacher. The teacher was very happy getting the new chappals but still pretended as though it was tough for him to accept them. The teacher called Ravi a monkey, an incarnation of Hanuman, which seemed clear that Rukumani did not like. She wanted the teacher to leave immediately. After he left, she called the children inside and offered them some snacks. She thanked God that her husband doesn't go to office in chappals, but needed them after coming home immediately. She wondered what Gopu would say when he returns from office in the evening